Hello there everybody and welcome to today's video, and in this one we're going to be looking at how Space Station Gaming roam on their lockers defense over on Bank. This is from the 6 Invitational Closed qualifiers. Space Station have had a pretty good track record on Bank recently, and heading into this game against TSM they managed to completely wipe the floor with a 7-0 victory. And the one objective that really stood out to me watching this game was basement. They have a really clean roam. They execute it really well. It's not overly complex, but it is very effective. So we're going to break it down, have a look at it, and honestly, this is something that you could even try with your stack in ranked. So without further ado, let's jump in. Starting off then with the defensive setup itself, I'm going to quickly go floor by floor and just point out a couple of key details that SSG have put into this defensive setup. Again, it is a roam. So we'll start off by looking at basement. Only 2 players will occupy this position at the beginning of the round. Key thing to note is server is really important for this defensive hold. SSG always have a player behind rack, supported by barbed wire, and even the second player can come across and apply pressure. This is because if the attack have free reign here, they can completely negate the entire rest of the roam. So really important that they have a player here and they're always active and always denying any entries from dirt. Outside of that, important to note that Garage as well is another weakness because it's not being directly defended by a player. So that's why SSG have elected to barricade off and even reinforce off the wall. So even if someone does post up in Garage, it's very difficult for them to be a direct threat in towards site itself. They might be able to hold across once they open up this doorway here, but even still, it is a pretty limited position, and that allows this second player inside of basement to occupy main stairs, for example. Again, another weakness. If the attack can somehow maneuver their way through lobby or do some kind of rat play, it's really important that as a defender you don't get caught off guard, because of course there's only 2 players on site and they can be quickly overwhelmed. On to first floor then, and this is where things get slightly more complex. Castle is a must pick for this objective and for this roam. You can see Hot and Cold places the barricade here in towards kitchen and a second leading into open area. This really fortifies this position. There's a rotation hole here that allows for easy navigation, and this is actually blocked off by the desk, so it's a pretty safe rotate. Other holes include footholes on E-box to make that entry a little bit more awkward for the attack, and you'll see later on in the round, we'll bring it up when it happens, Hot and Cold actually pockets a barricade for this door here, again just limiting the impact that the attack can have once they get control of areas like towers and archives. Onto the top floor then, and it's a pretty simple setup. Janitor reinforced, stock is reinforced, elevator hatch is pried open, and this is where we start to introduce one of the concepts that SSG really believe in for this setup, and that is bleeding time and falling off. They know how much time they want to try and waste from the attack, and they know when it's time to move on, when it becomes too risky to hold these positions, and they're better off falling back and supporting players like Hot and Cold on first floor, or getting back towards site for the late round. So we'll see that play out throughout this round, but keep in mind that, yeah, there's 2 players a long way away from the objective. They have a pretty simple setup, but they'll still be very effective in this round. So there's 2 minutes 20 still in the round, and as you can see, still 2 defenders up on the top floor. You have the Solus and Rampy gaining information. You also have the Azami and Yeti, who could be pretty self-sufficient. But boom, straight away, straight when TSM begin to get control up above on the likes of Banana, for example, leading into Kanto, and there's other players posted up in lobby and on the rappel, etc., really applying a lot of pressure on this top floor. You can see the defenders have already fallen off, and that's about a minute wasted. Obviously, they didn't have direct contact, but they had quite a bit of perceived pressure, and their resources and their manpower is going to be better served elsewhere. So they fall off. The attack will still need to drone that, make sure it's clear. And as you can see now, these defenders, they'll be able to reposition in towards open area, for example, to support Hot and Cold, or they could play more defensively and head down main stairs and fortify basement. Both players reposition over towards open area, and this is where we really see this open area hole become reinforced. So Hot and Cold uses that final castle barricade, so even once attackers get presence over towards towers, for example, and open up this line of sight, that castle barricade will protect from that angle at least momentarily, and at least sink a little bit of util. So we'll see SSG play 2 players now inside of open area as TSM look to try and get control. Now, if you're keeping an eye on the corner of your screen like I am, you'll notice that someone from TSM is actually trying to make a play and trying to exploit one of the weaknesses that this defensive setup has. Keep in mind, in the prep phase, right, I mentioned main stairs and garage can be exploited by the attack if they get the timing right, if they have the information. And we'll see someone has actually made their way down main stairs. It's Bolo, and he's looking to try and make a solo play. Unfortunately for him, though, Rampy is aware. So he's sensing that a player is close by. I don't know if that was off information, but sees him, gets the kill, and a play from Bolo that maybe could have opened up the round has now really constricted the attack. SSG have the advantage. They'll be looking to play into that for the rest of the round. At the halfway point of the round now, and as you can see, we only have a single player up above here for the defense. Everyone else is down below. You can see 4 players down below. The attack does have some pretty meaningful presence inside of lobby, so this area is all completely dirty for the defense. And from this position, TSM can posture for a back push and can elect to apply pressure down through Vault. So we'll see how SSG react. TSM as well want to transition some of this control from lobby in towards open area. That castle barricade, as we mentioned earlier, does make things quite tricky, is going to force a bit of time waste. Now this means that Hot and Cold rather is going to be under quite a bit of pressure in a moment. He senses that and he knows that players are going to begin to encroach. So he positions in this corner right here. And this is such a powerful position inside of open area and a great spot to put up a last stand. The hatch is open. So at the drop of a hat, Hot and Cold can decide to drop down and play for his life. This position is fortified against vertical play. As you can see, it's completely safe. And with limited control over towards back alley, for example, still just the single player posted outside, no one actually inside directly applying pressure from the double door. Hot and Cold's in a really, really good spot here. And we'll see how long he decides to stay before giving up and going down back to site straight away. So he hears the he hears the sledge open up the angle, the entry point from Archives, and he's just like, you know what, I'm out. Our team has the advantage. I can play for the trade in the late round. So it's a very confident and calculated play. He probably could stay, try to apply a bit more pressure and maybe waste another 15-20 seconds, but he runs the risk of dying, and if he does, a 4v4 could turn the round back in favor of TSM. So this roam has been incredibly successful from SSG. We're 2 minutes into the round, no one's died. TSM are still struggling to get meaningful control. There's still players on islands outside near spawn, for example. They've only gotten a single hatch open, so they haven't really achieved a lot in this round. And now they'll need to scramble in the next 60 seconds to form a execute. We're into the last 30 seconds then. Open area control has been forfeited, of course. TSM looking to exploit that. And they'll actually posture for a back push. 20 seconds to go. They're going to double hatch drop. And this is not a position that you want to find yourself in. SSG are aware they've got players positioned to directly counter these pushes. So it's really not going to end well for them. Main stairs as well is being watched. There's also presence if they elect to push over towards server, but that's double paragated. So SSG have played this pretty much perfectly, and it's just about being very, very clean here in the final stages of the round. Smoke as well from Bosco is just stalling out the push even further. 10 seconds to go, and TSM can't even get anywhere near the objective. 2 versus 3, now down to 5 seconds remaining, but with these strong positions being held here by SSG, no threat of a pinch from behind, able to close out the round. So just to recap, this roam from SSG is really good for 2 main reasons. 1, the amount of time they waste on the roam, and 2, the discipline and the safety in which they are able to achieve that. Players were not afraid to fall off through predetermined routes really early on at any sign of pressure. The attack still was forced to drone out these positions. The attack was still forced to try and make players to exploit some of the weaknesses that this hold has. But SSG were up to the task. They were able to shut those threats down. And then in the late round did a really, really good job in just being clean and tidy and using the clock against the attack. So I hope you enjoyed this quick little breakdown. If you did, be sure to leave a thumbs up and subscribe. I'll see you in the next one.